Okay, yeah, thank you very much for the kind introduction, and first of all, also warm welcome from my side. It's great being here today, having the opportunity to talk with you, at least shortly, about friction-free innovation. And I have to admit, when I first read about the event and the session here, I had to think a little bit about friction-free innovation, because, I mean, let's be honest, I think all innovation projects have friction. Yeah, I mean, there are always changes, challenging. In almost every case, yeah, it didn't go as someone has planned it at the beginning. Yeah, so it kind of belongs together, and maybe even innovation requires friction, right? So innovation usually occurs if something is challenging, if there's friction, if you need something new, you come up with new ideas, new solutions, and create innovation. Yeah? So maybe it kind of requires even friction. But when I thought about it, I tried to remember a good example for friction-free innovation, and I think the ultimate example of innovation is always Apple, right? So two guys starting in a garage, ending up with a multi-billion company. Yeah? So probably this is as frictionless as it can get, because it's ultimately successful as it can get to start that small, ending up with such a huge company. But I'm pretty sure also on their way they had some friction, some trouble, some ups and downs. But I think interesting is when you look how everything started. So in this case, everything was very much family supported. Yeah? So they started in a garage. You can see here they ate a lot of pizza. Two friends or colleagues that just had a common idea and started working on it. Yeah? And probably received some pocket money. Probably the parents cooked for them, didn't eat pizza all the time, but they were very much family supported to get everything started. Now, as you already explained, I'm an engineer. Yeah? So. For example, when we started working on Street Scooter, our situation was very different to this one. Now, when you start an engineering company, you have a lot of challenges at a very early phase. So you need a lot of different competences. You're talking about very special technologies, some welding issues. You talk about some material problems. You need a lot of experts, and especially at a very early phase, you need a lot of money. Yeah? So for the very first prototype, before any investor is interested in you, you easily spend 300,000, 400,000 euro, because everybody is saying, okay, it's a great idea, but I want to drive it first before I believe it's gonna work. Yeah? So at a very early phase, the challenge to start an engineering startup in mobility is very large. I know it's not that simple. It's a little black and white here. So probably for software, it's also not enough just to have pizza and Red Bull. Yeah. But I want to point out that for the engineering, when we're talking about innovation in mobility and green mobility, yeah, it's really a big challenge at the very first steps. Yeah, because you need a large network, you need suppliers, you need a lot of technology, machinery. And especially, you need a lot of investment at very early phases. So, when we started with Street Scooter, we also spent at the beginning, I think, most of our time looking for money and investors. Yeah? And that's still the case for most of the companies we start, and I'll give a little bit of an overview later. The key challenge is still getting the first steps done. Once the car is driving, once you can show that the bill of material is working and the costs are in a certain range, it's more easy, but the very first steps are the challenge. And after we created Street Scooter and sold it to Deutsche Post, we started another company, Ego, we were invested in, and over the time, a couple of more companies, and we always started them kind of with our own money. We earned with our engineering consulting services. Yeah? So we do projects, and that money we started those companies. But over the time we thought about, okay, how can we create a structure, something like the family, yeah, that helps to do the first steps and helps, especially engineering startups, to get running at a very early phase. And this is what I would like to show you a little bit. It's probably not the solution to have every innovation project friction-free, but it's probably something to support to make it a little bit smoother. Now, when you think about a family and the environment, the first thing you need is a home. Yeah? So what was the garage for Apple at the beginning? You need a home, something where you can easily start. Now what we created in Aachen is a so-called ramp-up factory, which is an infrastructure like an industrial tech shop. So startups can go there, they can rent the machines, and I'm saying industrial tech shop because we not only have something like a milling machine or a 3D printer like in a tech shop, you have like really big, large machines, laser cutting, welding, you can produce scooters, cars, trucks, whatever you like. We invested 20 million euro in Aachen to build that up, also publicly funded. And we're currently investing another 5 million to build up a new facility, private money in this case, to extend the facility, and we're also working on a global network of those ramp-up factories. We have a partner in the Netherlands, the so-called Automotive Center Helmond. We have a partner in Mexico, the Automotive High-Tech Cluster Mexico. We're currently starting, still at an early phase, a location in Beijing, in China. And we're currently starting the California Mobility Center with partners in Sacramento. So this is a larger investment ongoing, and PEM is the managing partner there. And we're also setting up an infrastructure where startups can go in, easily build their prototypes, pre-series, so do the first steps before they go in any kind of series production. Now, besides the home, you need parents, right? So someone who can take your hand, lead you a little bit, support you, give guidance, and support you in the development. And what we created over the time is a structure, something like this matrix structure here. So we divided PEM into PEM Motion and PEM X, and PEM Motion is giving the services also to external customers. So we're, you see here our business unit, battery technology, digital drive prototyping, production planning, which we do for external partners, but also support our own startups and offering these kind of services, especially also very basic services, marketing, sales, finance, all the things you don't want to care about if you start a new company. Yeah? You want to work on your new product, on your innovation, and don't want to think about how to do the finance stuff. Yeah? So this is something we support them with, and every startup can use these kind of services to more easily get started. Yeah? So these are currently our companies in PEMX. So and also there are the 2-1 Ego Street Scooter Research, Women Exit, but Use Mobility, Velocity, Ducktrain, AE, something in hydrogen mobility, something we're currently working on, and also starting new companies, and all focused on, again, energy storage solutions and logistics. That is our focus. And these companies are then also, we regard them a little bit like the siblings. Yeah? So like someone you can look up to, someone that is kind of the reference model. Yeah? Because what we experienced over the time, for some of the companies, we could solve some challenges, found supplier network, we found employees, we worked into some technical topics, and the new companies we're currently starting, they have it much easier as they can work with that experience, they can work with the same suppliers, they can work with the same partners, and as I said, we're currently investing to extend the ramp-up factory, and that is exactly to get those even closer and get all of these companies under one roof in Aachen. One of our examples of our companies, I just point out here, it's Ducktrain. So Ducktrain is a self-driving trailer, yeah? So it can follow a person or a bicycle or a scooter or a car, whatever. And like a duck with its children, yeah, you can also have small trains, so several of these trailers following one lead vehicle. And we believe this is a very smart solution for urban logistics, because what we see is that transporters and utility vehicles are more and more abandoned from the city, but at the same time we have more and more city logistics to do. Yeah? Now there are some approaches to do it with bicycles, but that is just not enough volume you can transport. So this can be a solution also for inner logistics, something we're working on, and are currently financing to build the first prototype here. Now, besides the home and parents and siblings, something you sometimes also need is a rich uncle. Yeah? So someone who believes in you, someone who has some pocket money, someone who also kind of has a connection to you and is close to you. And this is the reason why we started 5P Capital. What we see, there is still in the investment environment a link missing at those very early phases in engineering startups. Yeah? It's just very few possibilities to find an investor there, because usually always what is required is a prototype that needs the first investment that is usually higher than someone has on his bank account. So 5P is going to be very much focused on early phase investments in engineering startups. We plan to have a 50 million fund. We have already finished a pre-closing, so we have done our first investments. The fund is registered in the Netherlands, and we're planning the first closing until the end of the year with about half of the volume. Now, besides the close family, what is also good to have are some friends and partners. Yeah? So we understand our network not closed, it's an open network, and we're always looking for partners to expand the collaboration. Yeah? So especially when we go to foreign countries, in US, Mexico, China, we're having partners, local partners we're working together with, but also the University in Aachen, of course, is a strong partner where we're having a lot of innovation projects with, especially with Professor Kampka, as you mentioned, quoted at the beginning, who's our partner at the university. And finally, what is also good to have is some common idea, some culture, if you want. Yeah? So if all the siblings and friends and partners, if they're all too different, it's very difficult to collaborate and to work together with. You need some kind of common culture on how to approach things, how to find solutions. And in our case, what we find is, we call it return on engineering. That is kind of our philosophy. Yeah? So our vision is always how to bring an idea into series production in half of the time with a tenth of the investment. That is, in many ways, our approach, our spirit, how we do things. So be quick, try out things. We try to adapt, as you can see here, yeah, agile development into hardware projects, which is a bit difficult because a prototype costs money. Yeah? But still, that's where we see our key strengths on how to bring an idea into production. Be pragmatic, be fast, find simple solution. That's kind of the culture we want to cultivate in our network and want to give into all of our startups and companies being involved. So this is a very quick tour through our PEM family. Yeah? So over the last years we managed to build up some network, very much focused in Aachen currently. Yeah, we're very open into finding new collaborations. I'm very much looking forward this evening to go into the discussions with you. And again, I'm not sure if now all of the innovation projects are friction-free in our case, probably not, yeah. But I'm pretty sure that we found some parts of the puzzles to make it at least run a bit smoother. And I'll be happy to discuss it this evening, you, and very much looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Christoph.